Cypress being a great end-to-end testing tool, right? Let me show you a test and how it looks like in Cypress. So I have my VS Code, my editor here on the left side in here, and here's a test. And on the right side, I have Cypress window automating my application. So I have this Trello application. So maybe you know Trello, maybe not. It's sort of like a Jira board if you're familiar with Jira, and it's basically it's a to-do app, right? And inside this to-do app, you can create these cards or to-do items, and you can organize them into these lists, and all of the lists are in a board. So in my test, I'm navigating through my application. I'm creating a new board, and I'm creating a new list and a new card. So that's what I do here. Now, whenever I open Cypress, Cypress is going to open a browser, and within that browser, it's going to run my end-to-end tests. Now, for those of you who have never seen Cypress syntax, you can probably already tell by looking at the code what the test is doing. It's very intuitive. It's very easy to read. So you see it's getting some selector, some first board, then we are typing something, then we are clicking, we are hitting enter key. It's really nice to navigate, which makes it great for writing tests and debugging. So when I'm writing tests, I'm using this UI. So this is a real browser. When Cypress, when you write a test in Cypress, you open a real browser, and inside the browser, you can see the application you are testing, and you can see your test script. This test script, it actually works as a timeline. So if I hover over different states of the test, I can go back in time, travel back in time, and debug what was happening at the time of my test. After the test is finished, I can still interact with my application, so I can create another card, and I can keep debugging, looking at the application, interacting with it, which makes it really, really great when you want to either fix your test or you want to write your test, etc. So let's see what happens when you are using Cypress for end-to-end testing, and there's an error, right? So let's do something. I'm going to change my selector, and I'm going to make a typo, right? So I change this, and it's going to fail. So as soon as I hit save, the test is automatically going to rerun and run the script for me. And as you can see, Cypress does not fail immediately, but it sort of has this timeout. So Cypress is built for modern web applications, which are re-rendering all the time. There's APIs at work. Things are dynamically changing. So Cypress takes that into account. And when it doesn't find the thing right away, there's a 4-second timeout to sort of like an upper limit for when Cypress tries to find something. So in this case, it was trying to find a selector, but since I changed the selector for something that doesn't exist in my application, it has tried for 4 seconds. Whenever an error happens, Cypress is really precise for giving me the information about what happened, where it happened. So you can see it actually highlights the part of the code where the error happened. So it was trying to run the cyget command, and it was doing so, but then eventually it failed. I can look into the stack trace, and I can even print that into the console. So since we are in a real browser, when I open the console, I can either see the error, but also for every command there is, I see detailed information. So for example, this get command, which is a command for selecting an element on page, is going to print out the details on what was the selector, what was the command, and what was the element that we have actually found, and how many elements we have actually found. So working with this and debugging your test is really, it makes your life much easier. Also, if you travel back in the timeline, you can actually get to some parts of your application which are like hard to select. Have you ever tried to find a selector for an element that just appears and then disappears? It can be really painful, right? So if with Cypress you just go to the point of your app when that element has appeared, and you can just grab the element and find the right selector for that. So it makes your life much easier. Uh, so yeah, let's fix the test. I'm going to just put the thing back, and when I save my test, it is automatically rerun, and now it's green, and we're happy. Uh, as you can see, Cypress runs our application. It tests our application in the environment where it is supposed to be tested, right? It's inside the browser. That's where our users use the application. That's where it should be tested. Plus, since we are in the browser, we can get sort of closer to the application. So you can see that indicated over here, because not only we can see our commands, but we can actually see our API calls as well. So Cypress kind of invites you to examine your application and to understand its nuts and bolts. And the great area to start with that, to check out your application and see what's actually happening there, is exactly these API calls.